Hello and Merry Christmas. Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be doing my very first night airport update of Denver International Airport in 1/400 scale. Enjoy. Starting off the airport update at the A gate, specifically the Frontier gates, we have this Frontier Airbus A320neo in the Champ the Bronco tail, and it's loading on all the final passengers for the flight out to Las Vegas. And moving along, we have yet again another A320neo, and this is in the Poppy the Prairie Dog livery, and it just arrived in from Orlando, Florida. Moving on to the next gates, we have the Delta Airbus A220-100, and this aircraft just arrived in from Seattle, Washington. Next up, we have this Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 8 in the Honoring Those Who Serve livery, loading on the baggage and the passengers for the flight out to Portland, Oregon. Something worth noting is Alaska Airlines has officially moved to the A concourse instead of the C concourse, and I think they look much better over here. But next up, we have this Alaska 737-900 in the One World paint scheme, which just arrived in from the 5.5-hour flight from Anchorage, Alaska. Starting off the United Airlines Empire at Denver International Airport, we have this United 737-800 in the old livery, which just arrived in from Santa Barbara. Following that, we have this beautiful United Airbus A321neo, and this aircraft will be heading out to Los Angeles. And last up for this side of the A concourse, we have the United Airlines 737-800 in the Star Alliance livery, and this aircraft will be heading out to El Paso. Moving along to the other side of the A concourse, we have this United Airlines Airbus A320 in the Stars and Bars old paint scheme, and he just arrived in from Austin about an hour ago. Moving on to the international part of the concourse, we have this United 787-9 Dreamliner in the new livery, and he just pulled in from Tokyo about 20 minutes ago. Moving on to the next aircraft, we have this Aeromexico 737-800 in the Corona beer paint scheme, and he's departing for the flight out to Mexico City. Since Christmas is around the corner, what better gift to give than model airplanes? If you head over to JH Wings and use code MileHigh Aviation at checkout, you will get a discount on your entire cart. And if you are interested in looking at their models, then go ahead and click the link in my description and it'll send you right to the model store. Thank you guys for your ongoing support. And the most devastating news of all is the Icelandair 757 in the Hekla Aurora paint scheme has been repainted or retired or something, but it's no longer with us. But anyways, we have the 757-200, and it just arrived in from Keflavik. And following that, we have the Air France 787-9, and this airplane is loading on the passengers and crew for the flight out to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Moving along from my poor French accent, we have this JetBlue Airbus A321 in the Prism tail, and this airplane will be departing shortly for the flight out to JFK. JetBlue does a lot of red-eye flights. That's kind of their thing out of Denver. Next up, we have an absolute monster of an aircraft, and we have the Lufthansa Airbus A380. And unfortunately, this isn't flying here at the moment, but it'll be back next spring, I believe April time frame. But it'll be heading out to Munich, Germany for now. Next up, we have the British Airways Airbus A350-1000, which is actually longer than the Airbus A380, believe it or not. But anyways, this aircraft just arrived in from London Heathrow, and it'll be doing a turnaround flight back out there in about an hour. I can already feel a breeze from this next airline, but we have the Breeze Airbus A3... What did he say? We have the Breeze Airbus A220-300, and this aircraft will be departing for the flight out to Providence, Rhode Island. Just pulling into the gate, we have this Delta Airlines Airbus A321neo, and it's arriving in from Atlanta, Georgia. And next to that, we have another Delta aircraft. This is the 737-800, and it just arrived in from New York, LaGuardia. Moving back to the Frontier ground gates, we have this Frontier Airbus A320neo in the Colorado the Bighorn Sheeptail, heading out to Washington, D.C.A. I know I've mentioned this in the past, but these new ground gates are for Frontier only. I believe there's 14 of them total. Basically, they wanted a cheaper way to fly out of Denver without having to pay for jetways, so ground gates was their solution. A lot of us av geeks absolutely love them. However, in the winter, you're going to be quite cold.
And I've decided that I want to die.
Anyways, all the people that want to die are heading on this Frontier Airlines Airbus A321neo over to El Paso. Starting off the B gates over at the regional concourse, we have the SkyWest CRJ 700, which will be departing for the flight out to Santa Fe. Next to that, we have another CRJ 700, but this is just a United Express livery, and it just arrived in from Santa Barbara. Pulling into the gate, we have this United Express CRJ 200, and it is arriving in from the short hop over from Colorado Springs. And lastly, on this side, we have another CRJ 200, and this aircraft is getting fueled up and loading on the passengers for the flight over to Liberal, Kansas. Just taxiing in between the gates, we have this United Express CRJ 200, which just arrived in from Durango, Colorado. Following that, we have a United Express Embraer E175, and it's getting serviced for the flight out to Aspen, Colorado, and this is fairly new. They used to operate the CRJ 700, but now it's all E175s. Next to that, we have another United Express E175, and this particular aircraft just arrived in from Birmingham, Alabama. And you'll never guess the next aircraft.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
We have yet again another United Express E175, but this aircraft just arrived in from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Flipping to the other side of the terminal, we have this United Express CRJ 700. It's getting fueled up and getting ready for the flight out to Idaho Falls. And moving on, we have another United aircraft, but this is operating under Republic Airways, and it is a E170, getting ready for the flight out to Salt Lake City in about 30 minutes time. And you guessed it, another E175, but this particular aircraft is in the old livery, and it just arrived in from Wichita, Kansas, and is getting service for the flight back out to Wichita. Moving on to something else besides an E175, we have the United Express. Correction, we have the United Airlines mainline 757-300 getting service for the flight out to Houston, Texas. Next door, we have another United Airlines 757, but this is the 757-200 in the Her Art Here livery, which just arrived in from Lahui. Unfortunately, this livery has also been painted over, much like the Hecla Aurora livery, so it is quite unfortunate to see two good liveries gone, but I'm going to keep this model in my airport updates for the future. Next up, we have a United Airlines 737 MAX 9 in the old livery, loading on the passengers as well as their baggage for the flight over to San Diego, California. Flipping over to the other side of the terminal, we have the United Airlines baby bus, Airbus A319, and he's making the flight out to Atlanta in about an hour. Next door to him, we have yet again another United Airbus A319, but this particular aircraft just pulled into the gate, arriving in from Reno, Nevada. Moving on to our next aircraft, we have a United 737 MAX 9, and this is by Gemini Jets. They did an astonishing job on this model. But it'll be heading out to Liberia, Costa Rica, which is a fairly new route for United and Denver Airport. Flipping over to the other side of the concourse, we have this United 737 MAX 8 in just the plain new livery. It'll be making the flight out to San Juan. Next door to him, we have yet again another United 737 MAX 8, but this is in the Being United livery, and just arrived in from Santa Ana, California, which is a route I took not too long ago. It was really cool to see the Thunderbirds. Well, there's a government shutdown, so I didn't see Thunderbirds, but they were supposed to be there. So, yeah. Moving on to the wide-body gates, we have this United Airlines 777-200, and this is in the Star Alliance livery, making its way out to Honolulu, Hawaii. This next gate is also a wide-body gate, but can be used as narrow-body too. so it's kind of a hybrid gate. But this United 777-200 also arrived in from the Hawaiian Islands, but this came in from Kahului, Maui. And this aircraft was really hard to find a route for. The 737-700 for United rarely ever operates into Denver, but this particular aircraft just arrived in from Bozeman, Montana, and will be heading back out there shortly. And finally, for the B Concourse, we have our third and final retired livery, which is the United Airlines Star Wars livery. But this 737-800 will be heading out to Portland, Oregon. Beginning with the C Concourse, at the end we have this Contour Embraer E145 loading on the passengers for the flight out to Moab, Utah. Moving along, we have this Air Wisconsin CRJ 200, and he is operating as a charter flight for the flight out to Chicago. Moving on to the actual C gates, we have the Southwest Airlines 737-800 in the new livery, loading on both the passengers and the baggage for the flight out to Sin City, Las Vegas. Moving on from that, we have another Southwest. This is the 737 MAX 8, and it's getting catered, loading on the passengers for the flight out to Baltimore. Next to that, we have another Southwest 737-800. This time it is offloading all of the baggage as it just arrived in from Phoenix, Arizona about 20 minutes ago. And pushing back out of the gate, we have this beautiful Southwest 737-800 in the Triple Crown 1 paint scheme, which has recently been repainted on the 800, and instead of arriving in from Phoenix, it'll be heading out to Phoenix. Southwest is slowly retiring their 737-700 fleet, but there are still quite a few of them around, and this 737-700 just arrived in from Nashville, Tennessee. Moving on to our American Airlines gates, we're starting off with a beautiful 737-800 in the old chrome retro livery, and just arrived in from Miami and will be heading back out there shortly. Following that, we have our first American Airbus, and this is the Airbus A320, and it's offloading the passengers as it just pulled into the gate from Charlotte. Next door to that, we have another Airbus. This is the American Airbus A321, and it just arrived in from Dallas, Fort Worth. Finishing off the American gates, we have this American Airbus A321 in the Stand Up to Cancer livery, which just arrived in from Philadelphia. Heading back to the Southwest gates, we have the 737-700 in the Colorado 1 paint scheme, which just arrived in from St. Louis, Missouri. This paint scheme has been recently repainted on the 737-800, and I believe will then be repainted on the 737 MAX 8, so this is a little bit old, but I still like to throw this model in. Flipping over to the other side of the terminal, we have this Southwest Airlines 737-700 with the split scimitar winglets, which just pulled into the gate, arriving in from Kansas City. Next door to that, we have another 737-700. This is in the Maryland 1 paint scheme. I do believe this has also been repainted into the 800, but I could be wrong, so let me know in the comments. But this aircraft will be departing for no other than Baltimore. Next up, we have another Southwest Airlines 737-700. This particular airplane is getting catered and loading on the crew to kickstart the engines for the flight out to Sacramento, California. And finishing off the C gates before we head to the runway and taxiways, we have the Southwest 737 MAX 8, which just arrived in from Austin, Texas, and will be heading back out there soon. Moving on to the taxiways and runways, we have this JetBlue Airbus A220-300, which is getting ready to taxi to the active runway for the flight out to New York JFK. It's just currently holding for some traffic, which is new to the airport. On the other taxiway, heading the opposite way, we have this Delta Airlines Airbus A321neo in the 100 years anniversary livery, which just arrived in from Atlanta. American Airlines recently announced their flagship livery for their 100th year anniversary, and I think they both look pretty good, but let me know in the comments if you prefer the Delta 100 anniversary or the American. It has been quite a while since I've thrown some cargo action into the airport, so I figured I'd throw in this UPS 767, getting ready for the flight out to Ontario. Next to that, we have another cargo aircraft, and this is the FedEx MD-11F. pulling onto runway 34 right for the flight out to, you guessed it, Memphis, Tennessee. Just taxiing to the runway, we have the Southwest 737 MAX 8 in the Amua 1 paint scheme, which is for Hawaii if you didn't know, but it's heading out to not Hawaii, but San Antonio, Texas. Just exiting the active runway, we have this Frontier Airbus A321, and he just arrived in from Las Vegas, Nevada. Moving on to our final taxiway, we have the Southwest 737-800 in the beautiful Freedom 1 paint scheme, and he's departing for the flight out to Houston. And lastly, taxiing in the other way, we have this American Airlines 737 MAX 8, and he just arrived in from Miami. That does conclude today's airport update of Denver International Airport. I hope you guys did enjoy the first night update. I plan to do more of these in the future, so make sure to stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Both are completely free and only help support me becoming a pilot. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Merry Christmas and have a good rest of your night.